Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Thai Expat Daily Show. Hope you enjoyed the intro music. Now, Daily Show, we must consider changing the name maybe to the Thai Expat Show. Just a little thought I've had literally there as I was about to do the intro to the show. But nevertheless, welcome back, guys, and delighted to be back in the air and talking to you guys out there. So, how have you all been? What have you been up to over the past couple of months? For me, as I explained in my previous podcast, I actually started a new job. So I took up a role. I've been working for my previous company here for nearly 12 years and decided to get out and start again somewhere fresh. So that's really where my time was taken up, is getting embedded in that new company and doing the job that I was paid to do. So that meant, of course, that this podcast had to take a little bit of a step back. It's kind of been in the back seat, but it's still been on my mind of what I could do with it and what more. So as I explained yesterday to everyone, actually, I just advise you go back and listen to that and you'll understand what I talk about now. But nevertheless, how are things? The weather in Thailand has been pretty odd the last week or so. If you've been here, a lot of rain in the evening. Daytime's been okay, quite hot. And very humid, but nevertheless very enjoyable, especially if you're, an expat like myself who, maybe from Ireland, we know the weather in Ireland. So this is a godsend at times. But nevertheless, we'll talk about a couple of stories that have been in the news recently, and we'll bring you those, and we'll let you kind of digest them. And I'd love to know what you think about the whole issues. Now, I know one of the topics we're going to talk about is visas or visa exempt. But I guess not too long ago, in a bid to resuscitate its tourism industry, kind of post-pandemic, Thailand generously extended its visa-free stay from 30 to 60 days for citizens of nearly 93 countries. I guess you remember that. A move that screamed, come, stay a while. But I guess now they're contemplating slashing it back to 30 days, back to the original of 30 days. And I guess we'll be asking ourselves why. Well, mainly because some visitors, appears, have been overstaying their welcome, not just lounging on the beaches, but dabbling in a bit of unauthorized work and businesses, which, of course, if you don't have the right visa, is a big, big no-no here in the Kingdom of Thailand. Now, it seems like it's the classic tale, isn't it, of open the door wide and then panic when a few stray cats wander in. But I guess here's the real kicker. Now, while the government's busy wringing in hands over these nefarious nomads, the average tourist just stays between, I guess they said, between 14 and 21 days. So who exactly is the policy U-turn targeting? The few who exploit the system or the many who play by the rules? And this is one of the issues that I think a lot of people are having is, if you're coming here to work illegally, you're going to work here illegally regardless of what visa. I never quite understood moving it from 30 to 60 days. It didn't make sense to me because we already had a tourist visa, which was 60 days and also a good money earner. So people who were planning to stay that length of time could have just applied for the visa online and Bob's your uncle, easy to do. And also, the government would have been making a few bob. So in this case, I don't know what it was all about. I think they had this idea that they were going to possibly, entice more people to come in. But what kind of people are you enticing to come in, I guess, will be the question. But there's more, of course. As if the visa turnaround wasn't enough, the Immigration Bureau, right, has also confessed that its biometric system is bursting at the seams, full to its 50 million record capacity. Now they're resorting to manual record keeping. Yes, you heard that right, guys. And in the digital age, they're jotting down details by hand while they scramble to develop a new system with unlimited storage, a project that's both time-consuming and costly. So when you guys arrive here in Thailand and you put your hand there to take the scan of your fingerprints and they take your photo, right? They're actually only taking a photo of both. It's not biometric data. It's not being stored anywhere. It's only a photo. And of course, this is because their subscription apparently ran out or they haven't been paying their bills. So we're going to recap on this really quickly. On one hand, we've got a knee-jerk reaction to a minority misbehaving, threatening to deter genuine tourists. And then on the other hand, we have an immigration system that's so outdated, it's practically held together with duct tape and good intentions. It's a perfect storm of policy, flip-flop guys, and infrastructural inadequacies. But here's a little bit of a thought. Instead of blanket policy changes that could harm the very industry they're meant to here to protect, why not invest in a robust system that can differentiate between the rule breakers and the rule abiders? Or is that too much sounding like common sense? But I guess I'd love to know what you think about this whole topic. Do you think that the 60 back to 30 is a good thing? Do you think maybe it's just an overreaction to some people breaking the law? And what do you think about this idea that the immigration is completely outdated? I mean, when you go to countries like Singapore now, you don't even meet an immigration officer anymore. It is completely automated. And should that be the line Thailand goes down as well? Just machines, scan your passport, take your fingerprints, take your picture, and you waltz on through. And that's it. And by the way, I don't know if anybody's also heard, they're bringing in the new TM6 digital version on May 1st. So remember that card we used to fill out on the airplane? We get the immigration, you have to keep it. And then you have to keep it in your passport because this card is so important. Without this card, they don't know you've left the country nearly. So this is coming back after 3 years. So they've managed for 3 years not to have this card, and suddenly now they need it. Now they're going to have the digital version that you'll have to fill out on a website or an app. Still makes absolutely no sense. And they say this will be how they can track people. I really sometimes wonder. All they need to do is invest in proper immigration systems. And they work, these immigration systems. If you've been to the likes of Singapore, you will see how they work. They're quick, they're effective. They also know who's coming into their country. They can also check criminal records. They can also do what needs to be done to keep the bad guys out. And it's easy to see these overstayers or these people who've been coming in and out frequently and start asking questions. Why are you coming in and out so frequently? What exactly are you doing here? Of course, then on the other hand, I know as many of you know, we also have the Destination Thailand visa, the DTV visa, where basically you can be a digital nomad and basically get 5 years of unlimited entry into Thailand. And they're giving it out as well for Muay Thai classes and going to the dentist and things like this. So this brings into a broader thing of, how they're trying to attract certain kinds of people and they don't care about others. And I think a lot of us out there might be able to relate to that. I follow a lot of these groups online, Destination Thailand Visa Group, and you see the things people are getting a 5-year visa for. A 2-week Muay Thai class. They're doing a cooking class for a month. And they're getting 5 years of unlimited entry. And then you have a gentleman or a lady who retires here in the country with her pension. And she lives a nice, quiet life. She doesn't bother, they don't bother anyone. And in order to live here, they have to get their visa and then the year extension. And of course, they need the 3 inches of paperwork every year. They need to go and extend their visa by 1 year. While people who are using the country nearly for their own benefit, right? These Destination Thailand visas people, right? There's no proof that they have enough money to even live in the country. There's no need or no regulation that you have to have travel insurance or health insurance to be able to look after yourself if something happens to the country. These people are being welcomed, while the retiree is made to jump through hoops, do his 3-inch worth of paperwork to get a year extension. And of course, by the way, them being rejected and told you need to come back next week because your map was wrong. Like you printed out a map on Google showing exactly where your house was, but that wasn't good enough. Actually, what we really want from you is a hand-drawn map because that's much more accurate than your Google map printout. This is the kind of stuff that goes on. And I really feel that the likes of retirees, even people on marriage visas here in the country, are having the piss taken out of them at times. And it would be nice for those people in the country to be recognised and to have things made easier and to follow the way things are done in the likes of Malaysia, or even you see the likes of Vietnam, or you go to the Philippines, or in relation to marriage visas, Japan, and how they treat people who are married to Japanese nationals. They're treated very well. They're given longer visas, 2, 3, 5 year visas. They're actually allowed to do any form of work that they like because they're supporting a Japanese national. They're looked after. In this country, you can't work on your marriage visa. I mean, you can, but it's difficult enough, you know. And there's plenty of regulations surrounding you, which is, I think, highly unfair. But that's, I guess, for another day. That's that kind of conversation. But jumping back to the visa exempt, I'd love to know what you think about visas here in Thailand. I mean, at the end of the day, do Thailand want people to come here? Because they do seem to make it as difficult as possible, unless, of course, you're a digital nomad, you want to do a Muay Thai class, or you're hard up for a bit of a cooking class. Love to know your opinion on that one, guys. Let us know down below in the comments section, as always. Now, another story. Interesting, though. You know, sometimes it's not the bad intentions that cause the most damage. It's actually the good ones, the ones wrapped up in ignorance and served with a little bit of self-righteousness. So we're going to talk a bit now about, well, a deleted video, but a video that's now been put back up on YouTube by a YouTuber called Ride with Gabby. A man who walked into a Myanmar migrant community in Phuket, pointed his camera, and announced to the world that he had discovered basically the biggest foreign slum. Now, the title actually was The Other Side of Phuket, Thailand. That was the catchy. But he announced by talking about this is a slum, okay? And it's a bit of a catchy title, I guess. It's dramatic. It's kind of edgy. The kind of content that racks up views, earns comments, and gets shared across social media like wildfire, which it actually did. But I think we need to look at what really happened here, because there's a lot of people, when you look through the comment section, don't seem they're cheering him on. Well done, Gabby. Well done. You went out there and you shone a spotlight. But let's talk about the after effects of his video, which is probably why he deleted it for a while. See, the problem was, this wasn't a slum. This wasn't a place forgotten by the world. This actually is a community. A working, functioning, living, breathing fishing village where families, mostly from Myanmar, have built lives over decades. It's humble, yes, but it's not a tragedy. The children he filmed so freely, the ones smiling and waving at the cameras, well, many of them were receiving an education through a local foundation, the Good Shepherd Sisters, who've been working quietly for years to provide schooling, food, and support for migrant families. Quietly, guys, with dignity, without spectacle. And yet, that video turned their lives into content. And the consequences, well, immediate, tangible, and painful. Local authorities launched a full investigation. We're talking immigration, Labour Department, ISOC, police. Now, they didn't launch it into the YouTuber, mind you. No, into the community. Immigration officers arrived, documents were checked, parents were questioned. The school, the tiny beacon of hope in an otherwise overlooked corner of Phuket, has been shut down temporarily at least. Parents now are scared because immigration want to see their status. If they are shown to be illegally here in the country, they will be deported back to Myanmar. And why has this all happened? Well, because a man with a camera thought he was telling a powerful story. He thought he was opening eyes. What he actually did was open the door to scrutiny, to fear, to potential deportation. And here's the bit that should make your blood kind of boil. The man who lit the match has already walked away. The video was gone. He put it back up again. Probably took it down because of the backlash, but no apology, no follow-up, no responsibility. That's the problem with this kind of content. It masquerades as activism, but it's just voyeurism. Poverty porn for the algorithm. And the people it claims to help, they're left to pick up the pieces at the end of the day. And here we see the people on the line, on the comment section. Bravo for shining the light. Well done, Gabby. This is what we need to see. Well, is it? What's worse is that It is not new. This cycle of foreign content creators parachuting into communities, capturing this raw footage of people in hardship, and uploading it with sad music and a concerned tone, it's been going on for years. And yet, we never stop to ask, who is this really for? Because if it were really for the community, you'd really talk to them. You'd ask permission. You'd listen. You wouldn't label them a slum. You wouldn't put their children's faces on YouTube without the consent. You wouldn't walk away when things go wrong. This isn't about cancelling a YouTuber, okay? So let's get that straight. This is about reminding all of us, especially those of us who hold a camera or a microphone or a platform, that storytelling is a responsibility. When you frame someone's life, you shape how the world sees them. And if you get that wrong, you don't just tell a bad story, you actually can ruin lives. So, here's to the quiet workers, the educators, the NGOs, the people who lift others up without ever pressing record. Maybe next time we all think a little harder before we hit upload. And that is today's show. As always, your comments, your opinion about everything we've talked about here down below in the comment section. And we'll see you again soon. Take care. Thanks for listening. And bye-bye.